All right. Getting a few people in here. Back on our journey to see if I can shuck 24 oysters in 4 minutes, which right now doesn't feel too likely, but let's see how many I can get done in 2 minutes. 24 oysters in 2 minutes is what I meant, or in 4 minutes, but let's see if I can get a little bit better than the 10:45 that I had before. So while we're waiting for people to come in, I'm happy to do some Q&A too. So if you got some questions while I'm sorting through oysters and picking some good ones to shuck, happy to answer them now. It's harder when I'm shucking to actually answer them. This looks like a good one. You can see that's got like a nice place to put the knife in. Thank you, Aiden. I'm from Annapolis. I grew up in Hillsmere. That one's square right, just outside of Annapolis. And then I moved down to St. Mary's County, where I am now, for college. And then started working as a teacher down here, met my wife and made a family. And we've been down here in St. Mary's County ever since. Yeah, the ends in or the months in R thing, it's kind of old wives' tale. It had a lot to do with refrigeration back in the day. There's also something called Vibrio, which is present in warmer water, and it can be a pretty serious infection if you get it, especially in your skin and stuff like that. But it's not a huge concern with farm raised because they regularly monitor the water. But still, it's still definitely a concern. Man, it's tough to find oysters, like good quality oysters. I buy these from a wholesaler in Baltimore. So I got to drive almost 2 hours to get really good, a variety of oysters. But also I live in St. Mary's, so that means there's different oyster farms all around here too that I can buy from too. But I like kind of expanding it out and trying different stuff. So a small town, it's tough to find good fresh seafood. Frozen's your best bet. No, I've never tried grape gator before. I had a friend and I doubt he's on this live, but he texted me yesterday and said he went to a local seafood restaurant or in a local seafood store and got some alligator. But when he went home to cook it, he couldn't cook it because all he had was a crock pot. And it was probably one of the worst dad jokes I've heard. So there's my alligator joke for you. This one looks pretty good too. So I'm looking for ones that kind of have a nice hinge in there that I can get the oyster in really easily. Hello, Soy Sauce Tails. That's a cool name you got there. Van Life 3. Here's another good one. So I'm going to pick 24 out right now. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I actually just grilled some of these. I did that was a weird one. I did a video of char-grilled oysters. Is anyone here from Louisiana? Well, if you are, I'm sorry. I said that Louisiana doesn't do crabs well, but they definitely do oysters well. Those char-grilled oysters were delicious. Here's another good one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where your head? I thought. 8. Here's a nice one. 9. Yeah, this one's kind of pointed down. I don't know if you guys can see that, how it's kind of pointed down a little bit. I don't know if that's what I'm going to shot. I don't know if I can be this choosy during the oyster competition. There's a nice one. 10. Miami. I want to come down to Florida this winter, just like everybody else does, and do kind of a seafood tour with my family, starting in South Carolina, go to Georgia, then Florida, and especially look for spiny lobster and stone crab. So this evening, we're just practicing shucking oysters. So I'm trying to shuck 24 oysters. And realistically, like if I wanted to be a pro oyster shucker, which I'm not, it would be under 4 minutes. I think for the amateur division that I'm going to be in the St. Mary's County or in the U.S. Oyster Festival, which is in St. Mary's County on October 18th, I just need to be at around probably 8 minutes not to embarrass myself. The last one, I was at 10 minutes and 45 seconds. So yeah, we'll see if I can get it down to that. I have until October 18th, so I still have some time. Avon, North Carolina. I hope everything went all right down there. I saw some pictures of some crazy stuff happening down in Avon. Hope you're okay. Those dunes being breached were absolutely wild. We were there a few weeks before that. Am I a full-time content creator? I guess in the sense that I do this full-time and I do create real estate content full-time. I'm a realtor down here in Southern Maryland. So if I'm not creating content for this, I'm creating content for the channel Living in Southern Maryland. And it helps basically people that are PCSing to our area because we have a big military presence. It helps people move from wherever they are in a military base down here. And I just basically give them information about, what it's like to live down here, different neighborhoods and stuff like that. So I do content full time. It's just about two different channels that I manage. Gotcha. Grew up by Gate 3. Yep. Down by Spyglass and places like that. Where is Suicide Bridge? Ian, I was talking to you in case you didn't hear that. Canadian oysters, I find them, they are not just, I think what they have is more, I know people are like roll their eyes when I say this, they have a little bit more umami, and it's just that savoriness or that meatiness. So PEI oysters or Canadian oysters always have that kind of umami bit to them, or a taste to them, and that's why I like them so much. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Need a few more. Shucking oysters is not the easiest, most fun thing. I've gotten better at it, and I can do it if I'm not in a rush. And I guess I'm just trying to push myself with these, doing it in this competition. We'll see how it goes, I guess. I'm not a big Old Bay guy at all. It's not, I don't know. I don't like it nearly as much as J.O. And I'm not against it completely, but it's got a lot more like cloves and stuff like that in there that I just don't really care for too much. J.O. is way better. So I taught math and science, 5th grade math and science for 7 years. And I was actually a 2nd grade teacher for 8 years, and that was all science. Yeah, the first time talking about shucking oysters can be dangerous. One of the first times I ever shucked oysters a long time ago, I stabbed a knife right through my hand. So it definitely can be dangerous. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That one sounds a little, that one's not good. 19. Oh yeah, when eating crabs at our house, we always steam ourselves. We actually I have a video about it. I took Luke McFadden's boat from him, a little skiff that he bought on Amazon, and did a video of me crabbing on that. So that'll be coming out in a few weeks. But we caught those crabs. I took them over to the neighbor's house who had a big party, and we steamed them up and ate them there. So when we're eating crabs at home, we're definitely catching them ourselves. Yeah, you should probably use a shucking knife to shuck an oyster for the first time. And if you're going to shuck an oyster for the first time, an oyster knife that's kind of bent, like this bent tip here, is a better bet than one that's not. So I would always say you probably want to use a bent tip if you're just starting. Toadfish makes bent tip ones, but this one is a lot cheaper than a toadfish one, and I sell it on my website. It's an R. Murphy, which is basically like a Dexter Russell. It's the same company, and it's got the bent tip and stainless steel blade. It even has my little logo on there too. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We need 4 more. And then in a few minutes, I'll do some practice ones. And then we'll try to break the 10-minute mark. I really need to be practicing more during the week is kind of what I realized too. I don't think I can just practice on the live. I got to practice more. Okay, so let's count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we got 24 ready to go. I'll answer some more questions as I'm practicing a few oysters. And safety first. Let's get on my glove since we're going to try to go fast. A good dish, Eric. I think a crab cake is a really good dish to introduce someone to seafood. If it's a good crab cake, it's not too like fishy or anything like that. There's a good amount of seasoning and things like that too. So I would say a crab cake would be a good one. Wegmans does have good oysters, I've heard. Yep, I'm in St. Mary's County, just outside of Leonardtown. All right, let's try a few of these. If you ever get these oysters that have these like downturned hinges that you can see here, and you have trouble shucking them, it's okay. Everybody does. These are like the most pain in the butt oysters to shuck. And in fact, like what you're supposed to do is shuck oysters where the cup is at the bottom, right? I find it easier when those hinges are like that to actually turn it upside down, get the knife in, and pop it upside down first, and then flip it over and shuck it the rest of the way. Oh, that was almost a good one. Just like that. So if you're gonna do frozen from a local seafood, like from a local Safeway, like a grocery store, get some shrimp then. Get some frozen shrimp, like jumbo ones. Make sure they're shell off and deveined, and that should be a good introduction for someone. That would be what I would say. So the competition is October 18th, and it's going to be, I think at 2 o'clock is the amateur one. It's a Saturday, and if I do well, then I'll make it to Sunday in the amateur competition that's on Sunday. I'm shucking that too. I'm gonna try this one. These are Steamboat Wharf oysters. It's a young couple down in Virginia, and they're actually really good oysters. And yes, sometimes you get some shell in there too. That'd be some points deducted. All right. What are we at in our lives? So we're at 13 minutes in. At 15 minutes, I'm going to start shucking. So that's kind of my goal here. And once I start shucking, man, that would be cool. I would try to do 100 oysters in 10 minutes if the Ravens won the Super Bowl. The last time the Ravens won the Super Bowl, my son was a little baby. It'd be cool to see him win again. I'm not going to lie, the Alabama Gulf Coast for oysters kind of scares me because there is Vibrio, not rampant down there, but it's more likely down there because the water is warmer. So it does freak me out a little bit to try those Gulf Coast oysters. But the ones I had in the cooler season actually were really good. Yeah, when it says fully cooked frozen lobster tail, that means you're just defrosting it. They're going to be chewier than if you cook them yourselves, though. So if you were to get frozen but uncooked, like raw ones, I don't know why I say uncooked, frozen raw lobster tails, then I would say that probably would be better. I appreciate that. Thank you. Man, I have not had Sydney Rock oysters, and I've tried everywhere to try to get them from everyone, and no one will send them out. So it's been a pain in the butt trying to find those, but one day maybe I'll get over to Australia and I can try it. Okay, so the rules of the shucking competition, and I'll kind of explain them and then get started. Basically, I have to shuck 24 oysters in X amount of time, how much time it takes me, and I'll get points deducted if there's like grit or the oyster looks gross or like messed up a little bit. So last time it was 10 minutes and 45 seconds. I just want to beat that this time. And then this upcoming week, I'll practice more, I promise. And then hopefully we can beat that time again. I would love to get to 4 minutes. If I can get to 8 minutes, I'm going to feel pretty good. Hey, Robert. How are you, bud? All right. Let's see. We'll do it at 15 minutes and 30 seconds, and this live stream will get started. Raise my chair up a little bit. That feels better. Thanks, guys. Okay. And you're welcome. I'm glad it helps you get through. Helps me get through too. It's fun to do. I really enjoy making all this stuff. So, all right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Of course, the first one gives me trouble. We'll get in there. That one was quick. Hey, a little bit easier when you have an oyster like this where they're easier to shuck. I will say that. We're at 4. Not bad. This one's got me stuck a little bit. Five. Shouldn't have to worry about that. One drops like that, I just got to let it go. Doesn't matter where it goes when I'm shucking in the competition. No, this is one I shouldn't have picked. Yeah, this one's got a broken hinge, and when I picked it up, I must not have seen it. I'll try the trick of flipping it upside down. Oh, it was going well. There we go. We got this. There we go. I appreciate the $5 there. Eight. That's a pretty oyster right there. 9. Ten. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 15. That was a nice one. $16. That's a tough hinge again. $17, I think. Yep, 17. Oh, another tough hinge. Oh, that was butchered. 18. That was the worst one so far, but compared to last time, it's doing a lot better. Another hinge breaking on this one. I'll come back to that. Maybe I have an extra on here. $19. $20. I need to clean my knife in between these two. Breaking on me. 21. $22. That was a nice one. 23. And 24. So that is, hey, what's 20? That's 23 minutes and 15 seconds. So that's 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Is that right? I started at 16 minutes. I was a math teacher. I should know this. Yeah, the last two actually went really well. Yeah, so at the competition, from what I understand, I've never done it before. I'm kind of going in blind. And I asked a few other shuckers about what it looks like. Yeah, 24 is an odd number. I agree. What it looks like, but I didn't get a straight answer of how many you get to pick. Because if I can get hinges, I know that if I can get hinges that aren't like turned down and stuff like that, they're just like good straight hinges in an oyster like that, I feel like I can do pretty well. So I started at 16. I finished at 23:15. I need to get a timer. So for next week, I'll put a timer up here just so you guys can't see it on here. I'll put a timer so everyone can see it. And then we'll know exactly how long I shuck. But I think that was 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Now they're going to deduct some points. I'll show you guys why they're going to deduct points. Just the appearance of the oysters, like some of them are a little bit like tattered and stuff like that. It's kind of tough to tell because of the focus, but they'll deduct some of the points. Some of them still have some of the shell attached to the adductor muscle, but to shave over 3 minutes off of it makes it really nice. Yes, bring me a towel, soy sauce tails. You ran your stopwatch? Sounds good. Hello from Italy. That is on a bucket list of my wife or my whole family's to go to Italy. I just started going live. So I just started going live last week. I'm going to go live every single Tuesday from now until October 18th. And then I think what I'll do after that is figure out other reasons to go live and try to keep this. I have my towel boy coming. Thank you. Try to keep this going where it's a pretty regular thing, whether it's for this or unboxing different seafood stuff that I get, all those kind of things. These ones, so I normally would eat these raw. I'm going to put these in a jar and I'm going to make an oyster. I think an oyster stew with them. I've been feeling that. It's actually been a little bit cooler, so an oyster stew sounds good. The person meant it's an odd number to stop on, not like an odd number. Like it just is weird to say 24. Last week's best time was 10 minutes and 45 seconds. The oysters I had last week, though, were absolutely, they weren't bad oysters. They're just notoriously bad to shuck. They're Chincoteague oysters, which are on the eastern shore of Maryland and Virginia. And these ones are a lot closer to what the competition oysters are going to be. These are Steamboat Wharf oysters grown in Virginia. But what the competition is going to have is wild-caught Chesapeake Bay oysters. Pickled oysters, that would be interesting. One time I made oyster ceviche. It was like, if you go back all the way back on my channel, probably to one of the first like few videos, it was ceviche oysters. And they were okay. I don't think I would ever make them again, though. I found a pearl once. And it was the tiniest, most jagged pearl ever. There you go. Someone actually remembers ceviche. I always like it when someone says, I've been here since day one or something like that. It's always a riot to me. I think you can bring your own oyster knife. And for oysters in general, I think for a general purpose oyster knife, I think the curved tip is better. When I do videos, this one is the one I use. Because a lot of the ones I do video on, I realized, are smaller cocktail oysters, and it's easy to get the knife in there. And I'm not in a rush to do it, so I can just kind of get it in there and work it in there and then clear it out. But yeah, I'd say general purpose. And these, again, are in my store, buythewaterstore.com. And there's JO seasoning, and there's, yeah, you guys did distract. It wasn't over 15 minutes. It was 10 minutes and 45 seconds, I'm pretty sure, last week. 15 minutes. But these are on my website, and I'm going to be adding more and more stuff. And so if there's different seafood products you want me to, like tools you want me to try out or things you would like to sort of have, let me know in the comments too, like in the videos and stuff like that. Cause I can probably get them in there and get them to you, if not the same price as places like, you know, other online places, hopefully a little bit cheaper too. That there's always going to be dirt in oysters. There's very rare that there's not. There's always a little bit of shell fragment. There's always a little bit of this or that in there. And it's just kind of part of it. I know if I knock off 15 seconds every week, then I feel pretty good. 7 minutes and 15 seconds, that felt like a really good time. I felt a little bit nervous after last week's. Makes me want to practice a lot more this upcoming week, and maybe we can get it below 7 at least. Bacon wrap baked oysters. Maybe I should smoke these oysters, or maybe I should bacon wrap them. Rosie, if you have alpha-gal and you haven't tried SAAT therapy, I know a lot of people are hate on kind of that stuff with the acupuncture. Definitely at least give it a try and check it out. It can't hurt, but it definitely helped my wife. So anytime I see someone with alpha-gal, I definitely recommend that. Dude, the pro times last year for this was under 2 minutes. 24 oysters in under 2 minutes. His name is Honor Allen, I believe, and he's a shucker from Pensacola. Like, it will look like I'm standing still with how fast he can shuck an oyster. I haven't tried Arctic char yet, and I haven't tried the ones from Long Island either. Those are ones I definitely want to try. Gotcha, Rosie. I'm sorry about that. I'm allergic to barley, and that's why I eat gluten-free, and that's restrictive enough. But to see my wife go through like everything that is alpha-gal, that was absolutely horrible. Like I couldn't even imagine that kind of stuff, and all from a tick bite. I had Lyme's disease when my wife first and I first met, that was 17 years ago or so I had it. So tick-borne diseases are no fun. I eat the legs, but I put them to the side in the video because it's not something you want to sit there and watch. I normally will eat a whole bunch of the crabs and then have the pile of legs and things like that and go back and pick through it. Let me go grab a jar real quick. And I'm going to shuck these oysters into a jar while we're talking here. I'll be right back. Jar and a drink. All right. So I think what I'm going to do with these oysters is, like I said, I'm going to shuck them into the jar, and I think I want to smoke them because I've tried all these tin fish, and it'd be cool to smoke my own oysters and compare to those tin fish that I've been trying. Because I have not found a tin oyster that I thought was anything remotely close to what a normal oyster tastes like. Put all these in here. These are some big oysters. Those are some plump oysters in there. That's crazy. YouTube got really quiet over there. TikTok is still talking a lot over here, but YouTube got very quiet. I don't know what the recipe is, and that's the secret. A lot of the times I have no clue what I'm doing with the recipe. So I'm going to have to do some research and decide what the recipe is and then kind of go from there. My favorite oyster dish, I think the correct thing to say is raw oysters, but I gotta say my favorite is probably fried oysters. Fried oysters are absolutely delicious with some cocktail sauce. They're so good. So the only way that stuff gets inside the oyster is if your knife has the stuff on it. So if you keep a clean knife and you take your time, then you shouldn't have too much grit in there. You shouldn't have any like sand or anything like that you get in a clam. Like sand in a clam is pretty common, but if you're getting sand in your oyster, then something's wrong. I think so. My son and wife don't know this, but I believe they're going to record it for me. So hopefully they'll be able to record it and we'll be able to do that. I don't know. I don't think it will be able to be live just because I don't think the internet's that strong there. And there's going to be so many people, I doubt it's going to be able to do that. But I definitely want to record the competition. So I definitely look up those oysters that you just said there. I do sometimes. Sometimes it's tough to find those oysters again, though, because a lot of those ones are like repurchasing oysters. A lot of those ones seem to be ones that are like occasionally available in places. So it's tough to find them again sometimes. I appreciate that, Rosie. Thank you. I don't know how much I spend a month on seafood. I mean, I probably could figure it out pretty quickly, but I don't think it's as much as you think. Like, so for these oysters, for this 100 count of oysters, I spent $96. And from these oysters, I'll do a whole bunch of different videos. So if I buy 100 oysters and I do a whole bunch of different oyster videos and stuff like that, I don't have to buy new stuff for those videos. And same with like other seafood and other stuff you see me cook. If I'm catching crabs, then I'm trying to use the crabs that I catch all at that one time in the video. So I'm not, one, wasting a whole bunch, and two, spending a lot more money. Yeah, $96 for them is pretty cheap. So I get my oysters from J.J. McDonald when I'm picking them up, and they're a seafood wholesaler in Essex, Maryland, and they have like a wide variety of stuff, but also I buy them from places like the Real Oyster Cult, and I do have a what's it called? An affiliate link for that I'll put back up on my profile for people. But that's actually a really good site. It is expensive to buy from them, but every single time the oysters have come from the Real Oyster Cult, they were good and fresh, and they have a good variety too. And if you do have an issue with an oyster, then you can send it, or then you can tell them and they'll send you a brand new dozen. So they're the best oyster delivery thing that I've seen. So to keep the oyster staying live, it's easier than you think. You're just putting a wet towel on top of the oysters in the coldest part of your fridge. And these will actually stay good for, I don't know, probably 3 weeks. So these were harvested on August 18th. So it should be like probably early September that these are still good for. So I'm putting these in a jar to save for later. And this is what you can do when you have oysters that you're not going to eat raw or eat on the half shell. Put them in a jar, and they're good for a few weeks like this actually. But I'll use these for smoked oysters, I think what I'll do. Maybe some smoked bluefish too. I have not caught a single rockfish this year. I'm going to try in the next few weeks though. Sports I watch golf and I watch football. Ravens are my favorite football team, and I watch some baseball, but actually I don't watch any baseball. I just listen to podcasts about baseball sometimes and listen to or watch baseball highlights. And the Orioles are our favorite baseball team, of course. I did get to go see the Savannah Bananas, and that was pretty cool because we got to walk out on Camden, on Orioles Park at Camden Yards, and it's definitely a different way to consume baseball. It was cool to see it. I've heard the Trader Joe's stuff is pretty good. I haven't tried that oyster yet. You don't have to eat oysters live. You can eat oysters. You just have to shuck them when they're live into the jar and then cook them. Yeah, and then keep them refrigerated. What's the crab restaurant? What are the crab restaurants in downtown Annapolis? I can't really think of many down there. There's a crab on my head. That's interesting. Thank you. I like redfish. Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, and I will promise I'll practice this week. And if I get some spare time, then I will go live again, maybe pop up during the week this week as like a little mini practice. But for now, I think that's it. I'm happy with 7 minutes and 15 seconds. And I think we're going to be sub 7 minutes next week. So I'll make sure I have a timer for us all too, and we'll keep track of those times. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Later.